For the past 2 or 3 years, I've got to interview a fair few people. And you always go into interviews with a feeling of expectation, trepidation, scepticism or enthusiasm. And I guess with John Lydon, I ran the full gamut of those emotions. He's certainly one of the most enigmatic performers ever. And with the Sex Pistols, cut a swathe through the disco heavy metal eras that were sort of running rampant in the 70s. Of course, in the 80s, Public Image Limited have been establishing a loyal cult following around the world. But he's never, ever going to be able to get away from his role as lead vocalist with the now legendary Sex Pistols. John Lydon's probably best remembered as Johnny Rotten, frontman for the band that led the punk. He went on to form PIL, Public Image Limited, who after 11 years and 9 albums decided to break loose and come on down again.
Hello Australia, this is Johnny Rotten and you are watching MTV.
I didn't think you called yourself Johnny Rotten anymore.
I'm rotten to the core.
This is what you want, this is what you get, this is what you want, this is what you get, this is what you want, this is what you get.
And that's pretty much the story too with Mr. Lydon, a man with literally something to say on anything and everything. Let's start with interviews.
I enjoy waffling, it's, you know, it's part and parcel of being a human being.
Okay, the British press?
Very spiteful and very tedious. They hate their own.
How about his critics?
Oh, it really doesn't matter what they say because I enjoy thoroughly my work, very much so. And that's all that really counts in the end.
What about Australia?
Australia, to me, looks like a jolly interesting place, and I like it lots. It's new, it's fresh.
Making music?
I've never done this really for fame or fortune. I do it because I enjoy it, and I think it's important. The fact that irritates a few people is a bonus.
Fair enough. And being famous, any thoughts?
Most people will tell you it's tough being brilliant, but not I.
Making records?
The way we record is very, very quickly and as close to a live performance as you can possibly get.
Charming. How does he feel about computer-based music?
That kind of fodder dominates at the moment. And it's very, very difficult for, say, someone like me to argue with a record company because ultimately that's what they want me to be. They want me to be the Pet Shop Boys because that sells. Well, I won't do that.
Okay, then. At the other end of the spectrum, Guns N' Roses.
Ooh, I think they're probably racist, myself. They sound it. And they look dreadfully antiquated, too. Cliched English roadie look, really, isn't it?
Youch! Well, how about their tour with In Excess?
Well, they tried as hard as they possibly could to sabotage us on that particular tour. It didn't work. We blew them off stage, and that's all there is to it.
Dear, oh dear. And Sting?
He means well, I think. But ultimately, I have to draw the conclusion that really it's all about selling records.
Oops. What about the Stones?
They're looking rather foolish, and they don't look like they enjoy it either. They're obviously in it for the money.
Goodness gracious me. Next, you'll be having a crack at our Kylie.
She's joined Madame Two Swords. She's interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to tell the dummy from the real thing, though, wouldn't it?
She's a nice girl. Leave her alone.
Well, move over. It's Colette now. Sounds like a toothpaste.
Okay, moving right along. The Soviet Union.
It's illegal to own a Public Image record. Not a Sex Pistols record. That's fine, that's accepted. Just Public Image. Because we stand for freedom of thought, individuality, personality. These are things that neither East or West can tolerate.
Let's hope he has something nice to say about Live Aid.
The fact that there was a civil war going on in Ethiopia at the time was utterly irrelevant to those posers. It wasn't to me, it mattered a lot. I wanted to know which army these people were feeding. And now who cares about Ethiopia? Now it's unfashionable, nobody wants to talk about it anymore. The situation is, if anything, worse now. I think Bob Geldof cared, but he surrounded himself with sycophants.
Whoa, enough on that. Now, are there any legacies left from antics of the Sex Pistols days?
Still banned quite a lot of places, which is outrageously unfair. Authorities just naturally don't like people like me. A lot of people would like me to go away. Just drop dead rotten. Well, I won't.
Good news for some. Alrighty, commercialism and rock and roll.
There isn't a single product in this world that would have the likes of me.
I guess
On
that's
the
the
cover.
point.
Not one, honestly, I've tried.
Fair enough. What does a self-confessed television addict watch?
Anything. Except golf. I cannot bear golf on TV. My God, have you ever seen the ball?
So what does he do when he's not doing interviews?
TV.
What do you do?
In fact, you're keeping me from Neighbours right now.
How can you watch Neighbours?
Because it's fascinatingly funny.
Another thing John does like is Reg Mombassa's 100% Mumbo gear.
Splendid. Oh, yes. Look, you've seen it here first.
You do like colours, don't you?
I love colours. Isn't that brilliant? The Weeping Jesus. How apt. Let's hear it for the Aussies. Style, taste, colour. Yippee.